Chapter 61, New Habits. 4 days passed after this incident, and since it was a weekend, Helmer had slept till noon in order to be with Ambrose at night. And he saw Leon in the gardens of Eddie's house playing his violin to random rose bushes. This was an odd behavior, but then again, a lot of things about Dragon King Leon were odd. Helmer sat down in the living room while looking with a tired look on his face, and Allan was in the middle of a brainstorming session with Caron and Gregory, and the twins' friends were having a serious debate about cookie aesthetic. And Allan noticed his father's presence by the scent of lavender, and he kneeled down to be at eye level with his father. And he was going to take his father's fragile hand into his own, but he saw that they were trembling. He showed restraint by sitting beside his father, and Helmer opened both his hands as an invitation to his son. Allan was then able to take his father's small hands into his own. Helmer sighed and said, "Allan, I need to tell you something." No, don't tell me that you're taking Liam back," barked Allan. "No, my son, you have misjudged Liam, and you did not see how I acted when we were alone, and trust me when I say this, I did a lot of bad things to Liam as well. He was vulnerable, and I took advantage of his loneliness and his mourning to satisfy my lust. What we had was just a sick, codependent relationship," said Helmer. "Your father, he's a bad man." No, I don't believe you," said Allan. "My father's a sweet, delicate rose." "Even roses have thorns, Allan." Helmer was not able to continue speaking, and he hated the idea of Allan changing his behavior towards him, and instead he said, "The point is that I have forgiven Leon, and do not forget that he's Gregory's brother." He probably has his own Mr. Needy persona," said Caron thoughtlessly, "and your attentions probably awoke the side of him, Master Helmer." "I'm right here, barked Gregory, annoyed. "Leon isn't Mr. Needy, he's Mr. Clingy," said Helmer, giving a sly smile. "Oh, brother," said Gregory with exasperation. After the conversation, Allan went to apologize to Leon for his death threat, and Leon cried and kissed Allan's feet, and he said, "No, I don't accept your apology. How can you forgive me after what I did?" "Get up, Mr. Clingy," said Allan, forcing Leon to stand up. "It is not as if you did my dad any harm, but I did. I gave him wobbly legs many times, and when he wanted to speak, I consoled him because I did not want to add to my own suffering, but he was the first true relationship I had in over 2 centuries. And I miss what we had sometimes, and it wasn't great, but it is at least something," said Leon sadly. "Keep your chin up, Dragon King, and if you keep kissing enough frogs, you are eventually going to find yourself another prince. Though for next time purposes, do listen and keep that little Mr. Clingy under control. I was like that too sometimes, and it ruined my family, and it was not until I was willing to change that Dad finally came home," explained Allan. "Even till now he blamed himself for his father abandoning him." "I don't have to change, I am perfect, everyone says so," said Leon, shrinking into his frame, and he fiddled nervously with the tip of one of his wings. "It's okay, Dad, you don't need that shrimp," said Princess Sylvia, wrapping her arm around her father's elbow. "I got this, Allan, and go bother about your own father." As the day progressed, Helmer's mood kept improving, and he rummaged through Caron's wardrobe till he found a dress he liked. And he chose a pink dress filled with ornamental roses, and he also applied eyeshadow and red lipstick. And he fiddled around with his hair, trying to decide how to look. "Pandora," asked Helmer. He needed help to do his hair up. "She's with her new boyfriend," said Inanis, manifesting. "I did not think you creatures dated," commented Helmer. "We have our own private lives as well. I, for one, like to scare my children." "I am the monster that hides under their bed," said Inanis, laughing. "That's mean," said Helmer. "Not as mean as what you're doing to poor Ginger. And do you think he's happy with all that sneaking about?" barked Inanis. "You knew?" said Helmer, turning pale. We all know. Even Marina knows, though she's in denial about it." "And your face completely changes when he's around, and the more time that passes, the happier you look. And one has to be blind in order not to see how much you love the young fellow," said Inanis. "Me? In love? Surely you yes," said Helmer, laughing. And he turned to look at his own face in the mirror. The person staring back at him was someone he didn't recognize. He looked happy, carefree, and serene. And smiling, he said to his own reflection, "I love you, Ginger." "Nah, that isn't quite right," said Helmer, pacing up in front of the mirror. "What I want to say is, I am in love with you, Ginger." "No, that doesn't quite sum it up." I love you, Ginger. You have casted a love spell on me from which I cannot break free. Nah, that sounds a little possessive. Put a ring on it, said Inannis, bringing and pulling out a ring from her mouth. Helmer took the ring and he examined it before drying out the drool. It was covered with saliva, and after cleaning it, he placed it inside a decorated wooden box. Yes, you're right. I am overthinking things. For the first time in my life, I am going to do something impulsive, said Helmer happily. Helmer quickly dressed himself to see Ginger, and since it was barely lunchtime, he went to the newspaper to announce his future engagement. And Ginger is, as the born newspaper owner. Ambrose, Father Ambrose, he's my future husband, yelled Helmer. Sure, whatever you say, you do not need to convince me of anything, said the owner in disbelief. You're a paying customer, and I will print the headline that you so desire. Why does it surprise you that a cat like me can fall in love with a church mouse? Nay, Ginger's not a mouse. He's a cat like me. We are perfect for each other, and everything's going to be perfect. We're going to get married, and we're going to have a lot of beautiful ginger hair babies. And we're going to raise them to be pious, all-powerful magi, said Helmer, ranting. Are you writing that, you idiot? Yes, my apologies, said the newspaper owner. And after finishing his tirade, Helmer flew to the church with a bouquet of roses and a wedding ring. And Father Ambrose was in the middle of Mass. And Helmer interrupted it, bringing in his weight an army of earth elementals, and they manifested in the form of fairies dressed in pink roses, and they played the wedding march with harps and guitars. Ambrose, I can't hide what I feel anymore. I love you, please marry me, said Helmer, kneeling in front of Ambrose. And the crowd of those assembled started laughing. Ambrose looked through the crowd of church mouses, and then he saw Father Asher among them. And Asher had the same look he had that night that he almost killed Ambrose. Ambrose said coldly, I am sorry if I inspire the feelings of love, little Helmer. But you see, I am a priest and the son of the high priest Asher. What you desire cannot be. But, said Helmer in tears, God is love, love is God. There's nothing sinful about the feelings of love I have for you, Ginger. More laughter erupted in the church. And Helmer hugged Ambrose's knees and crying, he said, Please don't do this to me, Ginger. I love you. Please say that you love me back. Ginger drew near Helmer to push him away, and as he drew close enough, he said, You promised we were going to take things slow. You promised. Helmer left the church quite dejected, and he returned to the newspaper owner, and he said we should take things slow. And how much money would it take to suppress this story? Nothing, said the newspaper owner, burning all of the notes he had made, and he also handed Helmer his money back. Helmer left the office, and one of the staff writers said, Boss, we should run the story anyway. Nah, I'm playing the long con, said the newspaper owner. As you wish, boss, said the staff writer. You better not sell this story to our competitor, or I will flay you alive, by the owner. Yes, boss, said the staff writer meekly. Inannis was facing the window when she saw Helmer flying into the bedroom, and he got undressed and he put all of the items in the rose dress away. And the elementals departed with a disappointed look on their faces, and it had been such a beautiful impromptu wedding. Helmer dressed himself as a pauper to go see Ambrose in the dingy inn he was staying at, and he found Ambrose lying on top of the bed without any clothing, and his red hair was coiling around his slender frame. Helmer patted the red hair, and he saw the fresh slashes. No, said Helmer, crying. I'm sorry, please, don't ever do this to me again, and we will go slow, I promise. I love you so much, Ginger. We can do whatever you want. Ambrose said, struggling to rise. We will, you promise? Yes, I promise, said Helmer, petting Ginger's red hair. Helmer left for the clinic, and he returned with Benson to patch up Ginger once again. And while he was treating her, he noticed the bruises on the wrist. And based on the pattern, Helmer could tell that the damage had been caused by ropes. Ginger, who did this to you, barked Helmer. I did it to myself, lied Ginger. Ginger, you know I'm a mind reader. I am going to find out the truth one way or another. Whoever did this to you is going to jail, insisted Helmer. If you pry the truth from me, I will never ever forgive you, Helmer, said Ginger, sitting up. Then I have no other choice, said Helmer. No, stop, said Ginger, covering his head with his hand as if that could block Helmer's mad telepathy. Ginger, I love you, and how could you imagine that I would use magic to harm you? Ginger, you're just like all of the others. I am leaving you. I love you, but I can't live like this anymore. And if you're not brave enough to stand with the Arch Magus Helmer, the nephew of the dead King Wadanas, then I will find someone else who will stand beside me without fear in his eyes, said Helmer, making his way towards the door. Ambrose said nothing, and he allowed Helmer to leave. And Helmer sat down on the other side of the door to wait for Ambrose to apologize, and he fell asleep waiting. The innkeeper awoke him in the morning. He said sadly, "Your ginger has left." A month passed after this incident, and after Helmer broke up with Ambrose, and Allan was busy with his sister fulfilling a large order for the birthday party. And now Allan worked full-time at the pastry shop with his sister. And during that month, Helmer stopped going to work, and he no longer bathed or ate food, and unless prompted to. And when Allan could not take care of his father, Caron and Gregory would look after him. And if the three were really pressed for time, they would call Lotte. And if Lotte could not come, Helmer would be sent to Joshua's house. Today it was Caron's turn to look after Helmer. And Caron entered the bathroom to start Helmer's new daily routine, and he started by getting the Archimago out of his dirty pajamas. And he half dragged the mage to the bathroom. Helmer, feeling ashamed of his behavior, said, "I can bathe myself, you know." "I know," said Caron, giving Helmer his space. Helmer bathed, shaved, and he brushed his own teeth, and when he completed his morning libations, he left the bathroom looking quite melancholic. He sat down before the mirror, and he waited for Caron to brush his hair dry. "Admit it, Helmer, and if you're not being treated like a little princess, you become somber," said Caron, brushing Helmer's hair. "Do you want me to give you a brain massage?" "Yes, but we are delayed, and I may not work as much as I used to, but there are still others who depend on me to heal them," said Helmer, taking the hairbrush. "You can help me after we take Hope to his ballet classes." Caron smiled happily when he heard that Helmer had the intent to go out to work. And after breakfast, Caron left with Helmer to escort the kids to school. And just as they were departing, Inanis appeared with a note for Helmer. Helmer read the note and he said, "Sunshine says that tomorrow she will have patients for me to tend to, and I guess I have some time to kill today." "Come play chess with me then," said Caron, and the two sat in the park and played a few matches. And Helmer lost every time, and usually after a few turns. "Try a little harder," insisted Caron. "Stop pressuring me," protested Helmer in a weepy tone. Joshua passed by with his wife, and he saluted Helmer before continuing on his way. Helmer gave a faint smile, but then he returned to being taciturn. And sighing, he said, "Let's do something else." "Do you want to exercise?" asked Caron. "It's not our usual time, but we might as well get it out of the way," said Helmer. The two left for the beach to go jog for an hour, and afterwards they swam for a bit till Helmer got bored, and then they returned home to bathe again. Again Helmer sighed. Caron asked, "What's the matter?" "Allan forgot," said Helmer. "He forgot what?" asked Caron while he gave Helmer his little brain massage. Yeah, it's just petting his hair. That's how you give someone a brain massage. And it's important that you don't with like your fingers cold, because cold fingers in like your skull is very relaxing. He promised he was going to take me to see Leon, and I still had to apologize for what a terrible boyfriend I was, said Helmer in a weepy tone. "I'm a terrible person. It's no wonder nobody loves me." "I love you, Allan loves you, Marinas loves you, and I can spend all day listing the names of all of the people who love you. Or you can go see Leon right now," said Caron. "He's our nearest neighbor." "I can't face it alone. Can you come with me, sweet Caron?" Helmer dressed himself like a cute maiden with a pink ribbon dress and ornamental mini crown decorated with sapphire. And Caron had recently bought the dress for Helmer, and since Helmer had liked Caron's present, Allan had placed Caron in charge of managing his father's wardrobe. And good-natured Caron agreed to go with Helmer, and Helmer found Leon practicing his violin in the rose garden of Ericus Sofina's house, and Leon liked that particular garden because all the roses were pink. The melody Leon was playing was called Bis du bei mir, or If You Are With Me by Bach. Nearby was Sunshine napping with her baby on top of her, and Leon smiled when he saw Caron, and Leon continued playing as Caron drew closer enough to sit, and Helmer had stayed back peering from behind a rose bush. Leon saw the end of the pink skirt, and his eyes watered, and he changed the music to the bridal chorus by Wagner. And Leon turned his back to Helmer as he played the music, and with his back to Helmer slowly approached. Sunshine awoke from her nap, and she saw Caron first, and then she saluted him, and then she settled back down to her nap. She closed her eyes to pretend to sleep, and she knew that any sudden moment would spook the little Arch Magus. Helmer made sure he was near enough to tug at Leon's shirt to get his attention, and Helmer reached out to Leon, but he hesitated. Leon turned around and he lowered himself to hug his favorite pillow, Helmer. Helmer was not expecting this warm reception. "Pillow," said Leon, hugging Helmer close to his heart. Caron and Sunshine left to give the two former lovers some privacy, though they came by just as quickly to eavesdrop on their conversation. As they hid behind a rosebush, Caron asked, "Do you think Allan's gonna be angry at me if they reconcile? Oh, you're lucky he doesn't pop a blood vessel or an eye," said Sunshine, laughing. Helmer at first was going to cry because of their unexpected reaction, and instead he sighed with relief. And the embrace of Leon was soft and gentle, and Leon was treating Helmer as if he was made of glass. Helmer covered his face in shame, and he asked, "Do you still want me despite all my many, many faults?" "Yes, you have always been very kind to me, and I was selfish and stupid. Can you forgive me, Helmer?" asked Leon. No, Leon, I'm the bad one in this story, and I'm the one who has to beg for forgiveness." And so Helmer kneeled before Leon with his forehead pressed against the floor. "Nobody in their right mind would love a piece of shit like me." Leon sat down on the gravel floor to be near Helmer, and he patted Helmer's fragile back. And Leon took a whisk of black hair, and he imbibed the sweet aroma. And he took the violin, and he played a little bit more music for Helmer. Helmer eventually sat back up, and Leon smiled before continuing to play music. And after a brief concert, Leon stopped to allow Helmer to speak. "I'm sorry, Leon," said Helmer, "and all I ever do is cause problems for others. I'm sorry I was a terrible boyfriend. I'm sorry I was not able to give you the love you wanted." "I don't believe you," said Leon flatly. "You did love me, I know it. You said so many times while I split you in half." "And it's just something I say while I may," said Helmer bluntly. "It doesn't really mean anything." "I don't believe you," protested Liam. "You do believe me, Liam. Deep down you have always known the truth." "Let's go home, Caron," said Helmer, getting up from the floor, and the two sat up and hugged one another one last time. Before departing, throughout lunch, Helmer was lost for thought, and when Allan tried to read his father's mind, all he could get was the obsessive thought about becoming worthy. Allan asked, "Who are you trying to impress this time?" "Huh," asked Helmer. "The last day somebody got all the up in the family, it was to impress a guy, right, Caron?" asked Allan, pretending to know what was up. "Come on," said Gregory, poking Caron's wrist with his index finger. "Spill the beans, we know you know where you were." "Stop pressuring," protested Helmer. "I went to see Liam, and I wanted to apologize, and I wanted to apologize, and I did. End of story." "The only talk," said Caron, covering for Helmer. Nothing else happened." "So you were bad today," said Allan coyly. "Don't make a big deal about it," said Hope. "And they do spend a lot of time together, and it makes sense that they will grow to miss one another." "Grown-ups are talking, Hope," said Marina. "Look, Dad, you keep making excuses for Leon, and he could have hurt you, and that makes him bad in my book." "All right," said Marina, "we will do things your way," said Helmer, exasperated. "Pack things and find somewhere for me to live. You're in charge of your father from now on." "Wait, what?" asked Marina. "You heard me. You take care of Helmer now, and no more talking to Caron, no more talking to Gregory, no more talking to Hope and Allan. No more mincy of elementals," said Helmer. "And you can look after me as well, Lord Julian. You have never done anything bad to me yet." "Yay, I'm in charge of Princess Helmer, and I promise to take this solemn duty very seriously," said Julian happily. Alright, that's the end of that one. Bye-bye, God bless.